was a teenager, I started doing the things that most teenagers do, experimenting with things like sex, drugs, and, well, politics. And I remember Aunt Samantha saying to me, "We don't do chemicals. If it grows in the ground, it's probably okay, in moderation." Well, being drunk on youth leads to bad choices, as we all know, and I got a little out of hand. And at the beginning, punishment fit the crime. Grounding here, take away a privilege there. The first few times. Yeah, the first few times. The kids in this family run with a pretty fast crowd, and if you don't keep up with them, they vilify you on Entertainment Tonight, and we can't have that. So one day, I'm smoking a joint in the garden, and all of a sudden, Aunt Samantha storms in and tries to take away all of my house privileges, including some of the things on the list. Can you imagine? Just for doing something that she told me she didn't care about. Family can be tough to deal with. I mean, do you think it's right to strip away people's basic liberties in the name of fighting a victimless crime? Is criminal behavior in the name of so-called stopping criminal activity the right example to set? One of Aunt Samantha's worldly wise lady friends stopped by for tea one day and shared a story of her travels that sheds a little light on that subject.
Part 1. Santiago Mesa Flores, arrested January 25th, 2009. The newspapers call me El Pozolero, the stew maker. A better name would be the slow cooker. It is not hard to dump a body in a cauldron of acid. The challenge lies all in the waiting. I bide my time while the pozole simmers, the scent of meat wafting from the pot. Imagine the temptation to lift the lid for a peek. The first one was young, 17 maybe, with a hole through the back of his neck like a bloody echo. I carried him on my back, no different than a month of potatoes. I did not know then if the soup would need stirring. How many parts water to lie to human being? There is no family cookbook to consult for the proper positioning of the limbs. Days his body curdled in the acid, until cheekbones lie exposed like Sonoran sandstone, fingerprints dripped away, and his tongue lost its stories behind liquid lips. And when the flesh fell from the bone just right, I called it tender. My compliments to the chef. The concoction complete, I became busboy, rounding up teeth like table scraps. Bones left in the ditch are no wiser than chicken fat poured down the drain. The families bring me photos of their missing, asking me to match them to my memories. This one, a police officer. That one, just a kid. Another last seen in an Eastern Tijuana nightclub, but do not think I am a violent man. I am not there when the deal goes bad, when the guns are drawn, the decisions made. Some splatter, others ooze. I unmake messes. The mothers and wives would not want to see the bodies when I am done with them, but know this. They would not want to see them beforehand, either. Part 2. Gladys Dubuque, arrested July 27, 2009, Stockton, California. The newspapers call me a criminal, an addict. A better name would be chronic sufferer. It is not hard to own a body in working order. The challenge lies all in growing old. A slow burn will help to ease the pain of crumbling joints and cartilage run out. And when the flesh feels like falling from the bone, you must be tender. Coax it with smoke and mirrors. The officer was blonde, a sergeant maybe, with the latex snapping her wrist like a slow applause. Even the canine unit watched as I lifted my skirt. My underwear surrendered on its own, falling to the floor like a reluctant anchor. She ordered my legs apart and my hands on my knees, the proper positioning of the limbs. Her fingers were drill bits, making their jacket entry. Dust swirling between my thighs and plaster in fragments at my feet. I wish I could say that was the worst part. But next was the mouth, the gagging, the drooling, the gloves still tasting like what came before. Imagine the temptation to bite down. Finding nothing, she poked the wrinkles of my arms and my back, lifting first one breast and then the other. I am old. I have many dark places, but they had been mine alone to caress. I did not want to see my body when she was done with it.